This film shows what 4- and 5-year-olds are like while they're learning and growing. Part 1 of A Long Time to Grow showed what we could learn from observation of these 2- and 3-year-olds in nursery school. This part allows us to observe what 4- and 5-year-olds consider important and significant in their world. The comforting world. We grown-ups can gain admission to it if we respect it, if we will hear and see in the children's terms. Theirs is a world of intense action and ingenious problem-solving, of humor and drama, and a world, too, of violent feelings, of fear and anger. This film is made up of scenes of 4- and 5-year-old spontaneous activities, scenes arranged in terms of what seem to us to be significant basic patterns in the children's development. Here are the ideas about development which form the plan of this film. Now let's begin with the 4s as they master their familiar world of vigorous group play, of sensory pleasure, of make-believe, of assurance with materials and words. The group is important, usually vigorous and active. Sometimes the group is briefly quiet, as in this discussion about yesterday's trip to the railroad station.
Hey, teacher, let me talk. I like the diesels best.
4's language skill, plus the fact this group has had 2 years of nursery school, make such short meetings possible. Of course, the teacher knows the discussion will be a little disorderly, that it cannot last too long, and that it must be clearly related to the children's own experiences.
We're strong as giants.
Both group play and a slam-bang vigor are characteristic of most 4-year-olds. And colorful speech is part of all of their activities.
I'm going to jump so hard the skin of the earth will crack.
Enjoyment of jumping at 4 is not competitive. It's enjoyment of vigor, of movement, of independence.
I can jump by myself, but don't go away.
Grown-ups think of clay as creative material. Sometimes the children do too, but at other times it's simply part of the general vigorous activity. Group play doesn't necessarily mean cooperation. 4-year-old hostility is brief but warm. The 4-year-old relishes hostile language.
You stinky rat.
Sometimes this hostile language becomes a pleasure in itself, even after the hostility is gone.
We're going to bury Billy in this hole. We're going to break him up like a pig that says oink oink. He'll turn into melted butter, and we'll chop Billy's head off and eat him. We're going to kill Billy like a pig, and we'll eat Billy up for breakfast. There'll be no more Billy.
4s enjoy the fun of strenuous use of their bodies. The seasoned climbers take pleasure in being adventuresome.
How's your world down there?
These traits, delight in group enterprises and in vigorous activity, are intertwined with other traits. One of these is sensory pleasure. For instance, it feels good to rush through the air. This is how you explore your world and learn how your own muscles and your own senses work. It's delightful to whirl round and round, and fascinating to stop and find the world still whirling around you.
Every time I turn around, here I am.
Children enjoy and explore all the senses.
It sounds like thunder.
Hearing. Hearing sounds as sounds, sounds as rhythms, sounds as patterned music. Seeing. Seeing color and shape and pattern. Tastes and smells are enjoyed to the hilt. This, too, is part of testing and tasting the world. It's an interesting and exciting part of learning to feel the sand or the mud, to watch and study and experience rain and snow and puddles, or to create the fragile perfection of a bubble. Grown-ups can easily understand the 4-year-old's delight in the color and splendor and delicacy of soap bubbles. It may be harder for them to realize that to the children the gurgles and tastes and wetness and slipperiness are an equally charming part of this process. Such enjoyment shows the creative value of raw materials instead of elaborate toys with little scope for discovery.
I want another can, and another can, and another can, and another can. Look at the little pictures in the bubbles. You must be the baby, and I'll be the mommy. Is your bed wet, baby?
Domestic play is still, at 4, the most important part of make-believe. As the children become deeply involved in dramatic play, it is apparent that they are playing out their concepts of what life is, of what people do. The children may enjoy trying out the role of mommy, or reliving the role of baby.
Let's pretend we're not playing pretend.
Of course, family structures may be sprawling and casual. The mother may have several babies, all about the same age. Sometimes, like real families, the children's family scenes are as idyllic and peaceful as these. Sometimes quite turbulent. Even here, there's some sibling rivalry for the carriage.
Now, baby, you shut up and go to sleep.
Roles may easily be switched. The mommy is now the baby. Make-believe may be warlike.
My machine gun's much more delicater than yours.
Here, by the way, and in other scenes, the teacher is right there, but just out of camera range.
Bang, bang, you're dead. Now you must be alive again. This is our house, and this is the way we want it.
Girls may be involved in big building projects in connection with dramatic play, but usually for 4-year-old girls, and even 5-year-old girls like these, the setting is the structure for family life.
We have to fix it so it won't rain in. This can be the door.
Boys, these.
Now you engineers, now you dips. You kids all stick with me. We gotta build a sewer. You guys get the shovels and we'll make cement.
This project of mixed 4- and 5-year-old boys went on for weeks. Here group play does involve cooperation of a highly elaborated kind, with division of labor and fitting together of everyone's activities and long-sustained purpose.
When the rain comes, this hole will fill up, and we'll have a puddle just like the ocean.
This digging place had to be moved once, because the diggers went deep enough and far enough to undermine the sidewalk. It's clear that these children have observed adults with real accuracy. They really know how to mix concrete. The child may be the workman, or he may become the steam shovel itself. Four-year-olds' intentions and the demands of the materials influence each other. Things take form, but they may not hold the form too well. You generally start with a plan, but you quickly change to another because of the way the materials fall and the new ideas they suggest. These fives are painting on the floor, perhaps of necessity because all the easels are in use, but at the same time they're learning to work under varied conditions. Increasing skill brings wider scope. With 5-year-olds, the effect of the child's initial purpose is stronger. There is a clearer and more definite plan, and 5-year-olds can better control the tools and materials to suit their plans.
This is going to be for my mommy's birthday.
As skills increase, ideas are freed. By the age of 4, children can handle blocks and dolls and so on well enough to make imagination concrete, or to express quite fluently their feelings about situations they have experienced. But with blocks, as in painting, there are to the children's skill, and they adapt to the demands of the materials, and sometimes organize their buildings around chance designs. But by 5, the children can better make the blocks suit their purposes, like this boy. At this age, the child can let his friends in. The children can do things together. Joint block building develops as children see that they can combine ideas and efforts and materials, and as they learn that they can talk things over together. 5-year-old structures are made for a purpose, but the purpose rests on shifting group ideas.
Let's not have this be a barn. Let's have it a railroad station.
Note, by the way, the 5's skill and deftness, both in handling the blocks and in the ability to move around without destroying the building. The children are likely to have quarrels, but they can settle their difficulties and the project can go on. If space permits, children of this age like to leave their block structures standing, to return to another time. For younger children, this was not important. Of course, the line between 4- and 5-year-olds is not a sharp one. One may say 4s do this and 5s do that in order to emphasize patterns of growth. But growth is not the same for all children. To be accurate, we should say that what most 4-year-olds do, and much of what the 5s are doing, is an elaboration of 2- and 3-year-old activities, while some 4s, along with most 5s, are entering the world of older children. Some 4-year-olds at the workbench plan things. Others still merely allow them to take shape, as they did when they were younger. Most 4-year-olds no longer nail just for the sake of nailing. Many, like this boy, set out to make something specific. The 4-year-olds use brisk, direct methods. They want quick results, and technique is secondary. This doll bed gets made in a hurry, in one shop session, not as a major project to be returned to from day to day. The brace and bit is a new tool for these 4-year-old children. And they need real tools, not flimsy toys. Five-year-olds take pleasure in clear-cut performance and workmanship. For this boy, mast and railing are the distinguishing parts of a boat.
I need lots of nails.
He has worked on this boat carefully, with pride and skillful execution. Many 5-year-olds are ready to take on a good deal of responsibility for the care of materials and tools. On special occasions, like birthdays or getting ready for Christmas, the teacher can help children as young as 4 years old to work together, planning for an event a few days off in the future. The traditional and often mechanical kindergarten activities, cutting, pasting, stringing, find their proper place when the 4-year-olds have something special to work for.
Mine is all over the tree.
At 5, planning ahead is no longer limited to special occasions. This puppet costume is the result of 5-year-old planning, 5-year-old concentration, and 5-year-old skill. And the result, too, of the teacher's help at the right time. The teacher suggests improvising a stage and assembling an audience, so that the children may put the puppets to use while their interest is still at its height. For this audience, elaborate plot and dialogue are unnecessary. The puppets are there, and they move, and this is enough. This film has been emphasizing the elaboration by 4- or 5-year-olds of activities that first interested them when they were 2 and 3. Now the scene shifts to activities which begin around the age of 5 and go on through the middle years, as enter a more formalized, enlarging world. Their games have simple rules. They seek facts and wonder about death and life. They begin to use symbols. Letters and numbers take on meaning. Just doing anything is no longer enough. Now you have to see how well you can do it. And above all, you have to do it according to the arbitrary and mystifying, but completely entrancing rules of games. You have to fall as you're thrown. You have to freeze the pose. The wins. What do you win? Now it's your turn to throw the others. London Bridge is a ritual so well preserved by children's strict adherence to rules that it has come down almost unchanged from medieval Europe. In classroom activities, too, like music, the children now welcome more form and direction. For many of these 5-year-olds, this is a 4th year at school. In their music periods when they were younger, they experimented freely with these instruments. Now they enjoy orchestrating and combining their efforts. At other times, of course, they still have the free kinds of music and rhythms. In this musical game, the chalked circle is an organizing device to keep the group in formation and to provide a place to put the instruments down at the musical cue. 5 still like to have stories read to them.
But in winter, Flip and his mother were kept in a box stall, and when she wanted to sleep, Flip could be an awful nuisance.
Jumping up her head.
When the teacher reads a story, the children find humor, interesting words, and answers to many of their questions.
The barn found it hard to get the extra hour of sleep that he liked with someone walking around overhead.
Stories may also be the occasion for group discussion of things the children have been wondering about.
Even a rooster who thought that he got up early didn't like to be wakened by someone bumping into a water pail.
The teacher is alert to the cue to plan a trip to a farm.
I know I saw cows with milk 2 ways, by hand and by those machines.
Annie, I think it would be nice if we took a trip to the farm and saw the cows.
I'll show you the machines.
All right, Danny, I think we really should plan to do it.
And you can get on the machines and pretend you're driving. Oh, that's fun. One time we did that, didn't we? Yes. It's awful fun. And you can go and see the cows. That's a lot of fun.
Now, we'll make a plan for that.
Of course, this is not their first trip of this kind. They already know something about farms and cows. They see machine milking and hand milking, just as they had planned.
It's like a water pistol.
Good schools have science for 4- and 5-year-olds, not as something special, but as part of their regular program.
Do you remember what his name is? Anybody remember what his name is? I think I told you people once. Well, he's called a hamster. Now, let's put this down and see what he does. You see how it's sort of swelled out now? Oh, there, he's got one on the other side. Do you want to feel the, can you feel the food in the...
How do we catch these animals?
Well, this kind of animal we don't catch. We raise them right in the laboratory. He was born in the laboratory.
And you got him in the laboratory?
Mm-hmm. That is in the science room like this.
This teacher understands children and animals. He knows how to control and regulate the children's behavior skillfully when it is necessary.
I think if you make too much noise, you're apt to frighten them.
Hey, don't pick him up or
Just-
they'll scream.
That's right, you can touch him. Why don't you just stroke him and see how he is? I think he's pretty tame. Do you remember the hamster's tail? Little tail that the hamster had? See if you can find a tail on the guinea pig.
No. No.
Does he seem to have a tail?
No. He doesn't have any
He
tail.
doesn't have any tail at all, does he?
Why?
I don't know why, he just doesn't.
What does
Now,
he eat?
What does he eat? Well, shall we see? We have several things here. We got some lettuce, for instance. Let's see if he'll eat some lettuce.
He's not trying, in one lesson, to tell the children everything about the animals. Rather, he is helping them to observe and to see things for themselves. 4-year-olds take in only a little bit at a time. These observations provide the basis for the generalizations that will come when they are older.
Maybe he isn't noticing the carrot. Just put it in front of him.
This is teaching based on knowing how children learn, on respect for children as people, on using what the children say and observe.
He does like carrots.
He does? Well, did he switch to the carrot?
Yes, yes.
Maybe he likes it better than maybe he likes it better than lettuce.
This is teaching based on making the point only when the children are ready for it, on using reasonable vocabulary, but not talking down.
Well, I'll give you a piece. I'll give you a piece. You got some more. Yeah, let's break them up so that everybody has a piece to feed him. There you go. Has everybody got? Would you like a piece? Okay. And don't get them confused now. Let's just do it one at a time.
These 5-year-olds are old hands at picture lotto. This game involves recognition and differentiation. The children must be observant and note details in order to match the pictures.
Does anybody have a
No. Oh. I got 3 of them. I was like it.
very much like it, but it isn't quite it.
I know. I know. No. I know. Oh. I have 4 of them.
The teacher is taking things slowly. The children are all eager to fill in their cards, but the process is more important to them than winning. Picture recognition is one of the experiences that makes for readiness for reading. From pictures, we move to the simplest of symbols, silhouettes of the objects themselves. But the teacher does not spoil the child's pleasure in organizing or the fun of a game by pointing out that she is teaching steps to reading, or by insisting on every child's taking these steps at the same time. The children can respond unself-consciously to these ideas, and they face no threat of failure. Most 5-year-olds are learning to recognize their names and love to see them written, here with symbols of the day's jobs, table setting, passing the cookies at juice time. The children recognize the boxes and they can see the objects. The labels are just there. In time, the words become associated with the objects for the children who are ready. But the teachers are not pressing the children yet into situations where they have to depend on these labels. By the end of the kindergarten year, many children are 6, and some now delight in counting and numbers. But only a small part of the children's time, at 5, should go into the use of symbols of any sort. The teacher is giving the children association experiences. Above all, she is following the lead of their curiosities. She is not teaching them something for which she will hold them to account. These are readiness experiences, which contribute to the child's ability really to use symbols when he is older.
Is it tomorrow yet? Why do they call it the 31st day? Why don't they call it the 31st day?
Let's look back now at the years from 2 to 5. These 5-year-olds are about to enter the school years, to leave nursery school and kindergarten behind. But this has not simply been a rehearsal for those years to come. Each year is important in itself. Only a short time ago, these sure and competent 5-year-olds were 2-year-olds emerging from home into the new and for a while overwhelming bigness of nursery school. 2-year-olds differ from 3s. 3s differ from 4s. 4s differ from 5s. Because at each age the child brings a new organization of himself and a new way of seeing the world. Each year is an elaboration and mastery of what went before. Each year is preparation for the skills to come. But each year's experiences are fresh and valid and significant to the child in their own right. Through these years, the children come to know more and more. They can do more and more. They come to mean more and more to each other. Exploration and learning go on as growth goes on, but both growth and children are vulnerable. In nursery school, the teacher is unobtrusively there to protect and help the child, to supervise, to free, and to limit him. She is there to respond to the child's wonderings and to help each child find his way to his own ideas at his own pace. Never again in these lifetimes will a single year mark such giant strides in growth and learning and experience, and this is not surprising. At the age of 4, a single year is a quarter of a lifetime. The 5-year-old is more than twice as old as he was when he started nursery school. For the adult, these years go by rapidly. But from the child's point of view, it takes a long time to grow.